Hi, hello, welcome.
Hi.
We don't have a typical scripted intro today because we're just going to do something a little fun and short.
Yeah.
Because, responsibilities.
Responsibilities are hard, and sometimes you just need an easy episode.
So we're going to do ChatGPT stories. We've done these in the past and they're pretty fun.
I love them.
This is just an all in good fun. We're not trying to post a book and publicize it or anything like
No.
that.
No, these are just fun little paranormal stories that we like to read and immerse ourselves in.
Yeah.
So,
And so, welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not new.
yes.
I'm Daneisha,
I'm Ashley.
and this is the Afterlife Hotline. So this one is reflection delay. Ashley found the building. Of course she did. It was one of the it was one of those places you only hear about in whispers online. An abandoned medical office just on the edge of town. Shuttered sometime in the early 2000s. No record of exactly why it closed, just rumors. Patients complaining about hearing their names called from empty exam rooms, staff quitting without notice.
On. Hello, you're on the Afterlife Hotline. What's your story today?
Lord have mercy.
Wait. I do have a quick joke, though.
Okay.
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 What type of pants do ghost hunters wear?
I feel like it should be suspenders because suspense. What?
Paranormal pants. Get it? A pair of normal pants.
Today's joke brought to you by Ashley.
Hey! Dad told me that a few weeks ago, and I've been waiting to say it on the podcast. And I just now remembered it.
Okay. Back to the story. Staff quitting without notice, mirrors covered in cloth before the doors were finally locked. We told ourselves we were going for content, urban exploration, paranormal investigation, and a little bit of adrenaline. But the moment we stepped inside, the air felt wrong. Not cold, heavy, like the building was holding its breath. The hallway was narrow, paint peeling in long curls from the walls. Our flashlights skimmed across framed posters about hygiene and outdated medical diagrams. The beam caught a mirror at the end of the corridor. Tall, rectangular, bolted into the drywall. Drywall? Drywall. It wasn't dusty. That's what made me stop. Everything else was coated in neglect, but the mirror looked maintained. Ashley came up beside me. That's not creepy at all, she muttered, trying to sound like she was joking. A reflection stared back at us. Two girls with flashlights and nervous smiles. Cozy hoodies in a place that didn't feel cozy at all. Say something, Ashley whispered. Why? I asked. Just do it. I waved at the mirror. Hello. Our reflections waved back, but a second too late.
Ooh.
It was small. Almost nothing. Just enough for Ashley to grab my arm. Did you see that? She breathed. See what? They were delayed. No, they weren't. They were. We stood there longer than we should have, testing it, raising a hand, tilting our heads, moving the flashlights in sharp motions. Every now and then, a fraction of a second off, like a bad internet lag, except there are no screens, just glass. We laughed it off the way you do when you don't want to validate something. Then the whispering started. Faint. From somewhere deeper in the building. Not loud enough to make out words, just the shape of speech. The cadence of conversation happening behind a wall. Ashley's grip tightened on my sleeve. That's not us. I know. The hallway seemed too narrow. We moved forward, passing old exam rooms with doors half hanging from the hinges. Some of them had mirrors inside too. Small ones, over cracked sinks. In one room, the mirror had been smashed. Not shattered outward, but inward, like something from the reflection had tried to come through.
Oh.
Okay, Ashley said softly. I officially hate this. We should have left then. Instead, we found the room at the end of the hall. Floor to ceiling mirrors on every single wall. No. A former physical therapy room, maybe. Bars bolted along one side. The ceiling sagged slightly in the middle. Our flashlights multiplied endlessly around us, left, right, behind, ahead. There was no single version of us anymore. Just dozens of reflections. Don't split up, Ashley said immediately. I wasn't planning to. We stepped inside. The door swung behind shut. Not slammed, just clicked. I turned, heart spiking, and grabbed the handle. It wouldn't budge. Ashley tried it too. It stuck. Or swollen from the moisture, I said too quickly. Too quickly. The whispering was louder.
Because you were scared.
Mm-hmm. The whispering was louder in here and closer. It sounded like it was coming from everywhere at once, bouncing off the glass and multiplying. I glanced at the mirrors. Every reflection of us was still, except for one. Over Ashley's shoulder, the version of me in the mirror wasn't looking at the door. She was looking at Ashley, smiling. I wasn't smiling. Ashley, I whispered. Don't do that, she said. I'm not. Daneisha, stop. I'm not smiling. And that's when she looked at the mirror and she saw it. Her reflection had started smiling too.
Ew.
Slowly, stretching wider than her actual mouth could. Ashley's real face went pale. That's not me.
My real face is already pale.
Paler than pale. Ghostly, one might say.
Ghostly pale.
The smiling versions of us didn't move when we did. They just watched. They stepped closer to the glass from the inside. Our reflections weren't copies anymore. They were people standing in the room that looked just like ours, except darker. A voice came from behind us, soft and familiar. Ashley. We both spun around, and nobody was there. The voice came again, closer to her ear this time. Don't look at her. Look at me. It was my voice, perfectly pitched. Ashley's breathing turned shallow. You didn't just say that. No, I didn't. In the mirror, directly in front of us, the other me tilted her head. Then she spoke, but her lips didn't match the words. Ashley, she said gently, come here. The sound didn't come from the mirror. It came from beside Ashley's shoulder, right next to her, as if I was standing there. But I wasn't. Ashley squeezed her eyes shut. That's not your voice. It's not, I whispered. The reflection began knocking, softly at first. 3 taps against inside the glass. Not random. In sync, all of them. Knock, knock, knock.
No.
The room filled with layers and layers of knocks. The ceiling felt lower. The air felt thinner. The mirrored versions of us pressed their palms against the flat glass, and for one horrifying second, I felt something press back against mine from the wrong side. Ashley let out a shaky breath. They're trying to switch. The other Ashley mouthed the words at the same time. Trying to switch. One of the reflections blinked out of sync, then the other, and then the smiling one stepped forward, and the door behind us flew open again. We stumbled out of the hallway, not stopping until we were outside in the night air, lungs burning. We didn't speak until we were back in the car with the doors locked. Ashley finally looked at me. You heard it call my name, she said quietly. Yeah. In your voice. Yeah, she swallowed. It knew how you say it, the exact way.
No.
I didn't tell her the worst part. When we ran past the first hallway mirror on the way out, I glanced at it for just a second. Ashley's reflection ran beside her, but mine was still standing in the therapy room, smiling. It lifted its hand, 3 slow knocks against the inside of the glass. If you wake up tonight and you hear something call your name, make sure it's me. And if you see the mirror, make sure I move.
No! Yeah, that was spooky. I made mine kind of funny.
That's fair.
So this one is titled, We Accidentally Summoned Our First 1-Star Review.
We do actually have one on Apple Podcasts, fun fact.
Do we really?
I can't see what it is because Apple does that thing wherever, like, I guess it doesn't have reviews, but it says we have 3.7 stars. We have, I think, 2 4 stars and 1 star, but I can't see anything else about it.
If you're out there and you left us a 1-star, shame on you. Are you the ghost that we accidentally summoned? It started like every other episode of the Afterlife Hotline. You and Daneisha were sitting in your usual recording spots, lights dimmed, candles lit, because ambiance, and one questionable thrift store mirror you swore was vintage haunted chic. Okay, Daneisha said, dramatically adjusting her mic. Tonight we're talking about summoning rituals that actually worked. You laughed. Let's not accidentally summon anything, though. Foreshadowing. You begin reading a listener submission about a girl who tried a mirror ritual at 3:33 in the morning. As a joke, a literal joke, you look into the thrift store mirror and say, any entities listening, you're legally required to identify yourself. Daneisha chokes laughing. Like Paranormal Miranda writes, you both move on. But then, your recording software glitches. The waveform spikes. There's a third voice. Very faint. Very annoyed. You freeze. Did you just whisper something? You ask. Daneisha slowly turns. No, but did you just breathe into your mic like a Victorian child? Playback. You hear it clearly. A raspy, irritated whisper. Finally.
I love that it's irritated.
I know. Silence. Both of you stare at each other in a way only two women who absolutely talk about ghosts for fun can. Okay, Daneisha says calmly, so either we just summoned an entity or your house is aggressively haunted. Then the candle behind you flickered out. Not slowly, not dramatically, just snaps off. And from somewhere near the mirror you hear a soft tap, tap, tap. You grab your phone flashlight and shine it at the mirror. And for a split second, there are three reflections. You, Daneisha, and something standing slightly behind you both. Tall, vaguely humanoid, looking irritated. You both scream. The audio peaks so hard it probably cracked someone's AirPods. But then, the entity speaks, and it does not sound demonic. It sounds exhausted. Do you know how long I've been waiting for someone to finish a summoning properly? You and Daneisha blink. What? You lit one candle. One. You didn't even finish the incantation. Do you have any idea how embarrassing that is on the entity side? Daneisha whispers. We summon a ghost with standards. The figure folds its shadowy arms. You can't just say identify yourself and expect results. This isn't customer service.
But then again, it technically was.
I know.
Like,
yep. You gather the courage to ask, so what are you? The entity sighs. I am a mid-level interdimensional being who answers half-hearted podcast rituals. Mostly, I just haunt people who say, I'm not scared, 5 times in a row. Daneisha slowly turns to you. You literally said you weren't scared. The mirror flickers. The entity leans closer. You also mispronounced the Latin. You gasp. There was Latin? I added it for atmosphere. Suddenly, the recording equipment shuts off. Complete silence. The room feels heavier. And then, the entity says the most terrifying thing of all. I've been meaning to start my own podcast. You and Daneisha scream again. The candles relight. The mirror looks normal. The air feels fine. You check the audio file. The entire conversation is gone, except for one final crystal clear line at the very end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The next morning, your podcast has a brand new 1-star review that simply says, incantation form, sloppy. Candlework, weak. Hosts, amusing. Username, mid-level entity.
at least we're amusing.
I know. I was like, dang.
At least we're amusing. Damn. So this one is called The Third Knock. Always with the threes. 3 knocks in the,
I'm
in the
telling
mirror.
you, we talked about this in the last episode. It's just something about the number 3.
When the knocking started, I told myself it was the pipes. That's what you do when you live alone in an older apartment building. You learn the language of settling wood and coughing radiators. You tell yourself that every unexplained sound has a history, a reason. The first knock came at 3:12 a.m. 3 slow raps against my bedroom wall. You know, you could add in the knocks when we're...
I like doing it.
Not the front door, not the window, the wall. I remember the time because I checked. I always check when something wakes me up like that. Sudden, sharp, and intentional. The red glow of my alarm clock said 3:12. It felt important for reasons I couldn't explain. I held my breath and listened. Nothing. No footsteps in the hallway, no neighbor's TV humming through the drywall, just the low whirl of my ceiling fan and my own pulse crawling in my ears. God. I told myself, it's the pipes. I hate when that happens, by the way. Like when you're running or being active or something and then you can hear your heartbeat and feel.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Nope.
The second night it happened again. 3:12 a.m. 3 knocks. Closer this time. Not on the far side of the room, but beside my bed.
Ew.
I didn't check the clock right away. I didn't want to confirm it. I stared at the dark outline of my dresser instead. waiting for the sound to repeat, but it didn't. When I finally turned my head, the clock read 3:12. The next morning, I asked my neighbor, Mrs. Delaney, if she had heard anything strange at night. She frowned at me in a careful way people do when they're deciding whether you're joking. Honey, she said softly, and the apartment next to yours is empty. I laughed like she had made a mistake. No, I mean the one on the other side of my bedroom wall. She didn't laugh back. That's the empty one. I nodded like it made sense, but it really didn't. The third night, I stayed awake. I made coffee at midnight and kept all of the lights on. I sat on my bed with my back pressed firmly against the wall where the knocking had came from.
Mm-mm.
The wall felt solid, cool, and harmless. I watched as the minutes passed on my phone. 3:10, 3:11, 3:12. Nothing happened.
Oh.
I let out a shaky laugh, embarrassed at myself. I had worked it up in my head. Sleep deprivation does that. The brain looks for patterns, and it invents threats. I had exhaled, and then 3 knocks.
Oh, God.
Behind me. Not from the wall, from inside it.
Ew.
It was different this time. Hollow. Muffled. Like someone knocking from the other side of something thick. I froze. The wall vibrated faintly against my spine. I felt it more than I heard it. Knock. 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 Slow. Deliberate. As if whoever, or whatever, was there, knew I was listening. I didn't move. I couldn't. And then, very softly, I heard something else. A sound like fingernails dragging right where my shoulder blades touched the drywall. I shot forward, scrambling off the bed, nearly tripping over my own feet. The room was still. The wall was blank and innocent. I pressed my ear to it. Silence, and then a whisper. Not loud, not dramatic, just enough to make out a single word. Closer.
Ew.
Right? I stumbled back, heart hammering so violently I thought I might black out. My hands were shaking. I told myself I was hallucinating. Auditory stress response. Sleep disruption. There were explanations for this. There had to be. The next morning, I called our landlord, and he swore there were no hidden crawl spaces and no access panels. No shared vents between units, nothing.
That you know of.
He even let me walk through the empty apartment next door. It was bare, unoccupied for months. The wall that matched my bedroom was smooth and unmarked. No scratches, no holes, no way through. That night, I pushed my bed to the center of the room. At 3:12 a.m., the knocking didn't come from the wall.
I feel like that's even worse, being in the center
because
of the room.
you're all sides are unprotected. Yeah, I would prefer, like, if I were single and living alone, my bed would literally be in a corner of the room.
Yeah, same.
And I would be pressed up against that wall.
Mm-hmm. I would just move it to a different wall.
Yeah, for sure, if that was happening. The knocking didn't come from the wall. It came under the floor. 3 heavy thuds beneath the exact spot where my bed had hidden. Maybe you need to replace your bed. Maybe it's the bed. The wood trembled. Something shifted beneath it. And then slowly 3 more knocks from the wall again. Answering the floor.
What?
Like they were communicating.
Ew.
Like I was in between them.
Ew.
My breath hitched. I realized then this wasn't random. It wasn't trying to scare me. It was triangulating. Every night, the sound had moved closer to where I slept. Wall, beside the bed, inside the wall, under the floor where my body had been. It wasn't attached to the apartment. It was attached to me. I didn't sleep at all after that. I kept the lights on and sat against the opposite wall, knees pulled up to my chest. 3:12 came and went. No knocking. I almost convinced myself it was over until I felt it. A pressure against my back. 3 slow taps. Not on the wall, not on the floor, but directly on me.
Ew.
In between my shoulder blades.
No.
I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Warmth spread through my spine, like fingers pressing inward. And then I heard it. Not from the wall, not from beneath the floor, but inside my head. Closer. My body lurched forward involuntarily. My hand slapped against the wall in front of me. Before I could stop, I knocked back 3 times. The room went silent, the kind of silence that feels full and waiting. And then, from everywhere at once, 3 knocks answered. If you ever wake up at 3:12 in the morning and you hear knocking, don't ignore it. Don't investigate, and whatever you do, don't knock back.
Ew. I don't like the fact that it knocked on her and spoke in her head. At that point, Boo Boo, your ass is getting up.
It got as close as it can get.
Your ass is getting possessed, is what it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
No. No.
No, hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no.
All right. The ship that didn't want guests.
Oh, dear.
Mm-hmm. You knew the night was going to be weird the second the dock went quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Not small town after midnight quiet. The kind of quiet where even the water sounds like it's holding its breath. You and Daneisha stood at the edge of the marina, staring at the retired tour boat locals kept side-eyeing whenever anyone mentioned it. Paint peeling, name half scraped off the hull, one single light flickering inside the boat forgot how electricity works. Daneisha squinted. Tell me again why we're voluntarily getting on that? You adjusted your recorder. Because we have a reputation to maintain? For poor decisions? Primarily, yeah. The boarding ramp groaned under your feet as you stepped onto the deck. The boat shifted, not dramatically, just enough to feel aware. You both paused. Daneisha muttered, "If this thing locks us in, I'm haunting you personally."
Accurate.
Yeah. Inside, the air smelled like salt, old carpet, and something faintly metallic, like pennies left in water too long. Blood. You sat up in the main passenger cabin. EMF reader, ready. Spirit box, ready. Flashlights, emotionally supportive. You hit record. "Hi," you said into the darkness, voice steady in the way that means you are absolutely not steady. "We're Ashley and Daneisha from the Afterlife Hotline. We're just here to talk." For a moment, nothing. Then the hull let out a long, slow creak that sounded almost like a sigh.
Like, bitches, fuck off. I'm trying to sleep.
Uh-huh. Yep. Daneisha leaned toward the mic. Respectfully. That was passive-aggressive. You turned on the spirit box. Static flooded the room. You asked carefully, "Is there anyone here with us tonight?" White noise. Crackling. Then, a voice slipped through. Not loud, not dramatic, just very, very clear. "Again?" You froze. Daneisha's head snapped toward you. "Again?" The EMF reader twitched. Not a full spike, just a nervous little jump. You try to keep your tone professional. "I'm sorry. Have we been here before?" The spirit box hissed. For a long moment there was only static. Then, quieter this time. "Not you." The overhead light flickered once, twice, then steadied. You and Daneisha exchanged a look. "That," Daneisha whispered, "was somehow worse." From somewhere above you, footsteps. Slow, measured. Not the random thumps of an old boat settling. These had rhythm. 1, 2, 3. They stopped directly over your heads. Your stomach dropped. You tried again. "If someone is here, can you tell us your name?" The spirit box crackled violently. For half a second, multiple voices overlapped, like a crowded room trying to speak through one mouth. Then everything cut clean. One voice remained. Flat. Tired. "You're not the ones I'm waiting for." A long scrape echoed across the deck above you, like something heavy being dragged. Daneisha leaned slowly towards you. "Bestie, that sentence had intent." The EMF reader suddenly spiked hard. Beep, beep, beep. Your motion sensor flashed red. No movement in the room, but something was definitely moving.
It's giving ghost ship.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere. You swallowed. "Okay, who are you waiting for?" The temperature in the cabin dropped so fast your arms prickled. The spirit box whispered back. "The loud ones." Silence. Then, from the far hallway, a door you absolutely did not open slowly creaked inward. You both turned your flashlights toward it. Inside was the ship's old guest log, sitting open on a podium like someone had just been reading it. You approached carefully. The last visible entry was dated 3 weeks ago. "Ghost Hunters of the Gulf Coast." Underneath it, fresh writing carved hard into the paper. Not ink. Indented. Like something pressed too hard while writing. It read, "They scream when they run." Daneisha exhaled slowly. "Oh, so we are not the loud ones." Right on cue, the spirit box crackled one more time, and in the calmest, most exhausted voice yet, the entity said, "You will be." Every single light in the cabin went out. Pitch black, for exactly 3 seconds. Then, from the deck above you, running footsteps. Fast, heavy, coming straight towards the stairs. You and Daneisha did not discuss it. You did not investigate. You did not collect additional evidence. You left.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $100.
You left immediately, professionally, with urgency. Post-investigation update. When you reviewed the audio later, most of the session was clean. Mostly static, mostly normal. Except for one section neither of you remembered recording. Right after you ran, a quiet voice, much closer to the mic than it should have been, whispered, "Wrong ship, but you'll do."
I don't like that.
Yeah. Wrong ship,
don't
but you'll do.
like that. Brother, Brother, Anyway, final girls. We thought it was a joke when our agent called. A campy slasher.
We have an agent.
We have an agent.
Oh my god.
Low budget but nostalgic. A love letter to the classics. Masked killers, dramatic chase scenes, witty one-liners before somebody inevitably dies. The pitch deck referenced to movies like Scream, Friday the 13th, and Urban Legends. The producers said they wanted chemistry, banter, and best friend energy. They'd heard about a podcast accidentally and decided we were the perfect leads. Two horror-obsessed best friends who accidentally uncover a killer on a film set.
We can be actors.
It felt meta, it felt fun, and it felt safe. And yes, we very much can. You want us for voice acting?
Any
voice acting scripts?
indie producers watching?
You know, there's a couple that, I think it was 2 years ago, they filmed a zombie apocalypse movie in Eureka Springs.
Oh, that's cool.
It was very, very tempting to apply, but I didn't have actual access to get there if they needed me, so I did not. But that is stuff that happens around here. Anyways, the set was an old summer camp 2 hours out of town. Cabins, a dock stretching over a dark lake, trees packed so tightly the sunlight barely filtered through. The crew kept calling it atmospheric. Ashley called it a mosquito hell.
That's exactly what I would say too.
I called it career growth.
Of course you would. Do it for career growth, Ashley.
The first scene we filmed was simple. A prank gone wrong. My character finds a fake body strung up in the mess hall as a joke and delivers a sarcastic monologue about predictable horror tropes. Ashley bursts in screaming dramatically. Cue fake blood. Cue exaggerated gasp. Cut! 2 days later, the assistant prop master didn't show up for call time. They found him in the mess hall, hanging from a beam. The police ruled it a tragic accident. Faulty ladder, head injury, rope involvement. They shut the set down for 24 hours. We lit candles, and we posted some somber statements. Production resumed. These things happen, the director said gently. Let's honor him by finish filming this film.
Oh my god. Forget about the guy just died. Let's just keep going, I guess.
The next big scene was a chase through the woods at night. Ashley trips over a tree root. I look back. The killer, full costume, glossy black mask, tilts his head in that exaggerated slasher way. He doesn't run, he just walks, dragging the blade against trees so it makes that metallic scrape sound. We filmed it in one take. It was perfect. 3 days later, one of the lighting techs was missing after wrap. They found him just past the tree line, deep cuts along his arm, long, shallow scrapes carved into the bark around him at the same height as the blade in the movie. Production shut down again. Whispers started spreading through crew trailers, people comparing call sheets to incidents, joking about cursed sets, method acting gone too far, viral marketing stunts, but the jokes weren't funny because the next scheduled scene was a dock sequence. Ashley's character was supposed to get pulled underwater by the killer. It was filmed in daylight with safety divers and harnesses. Dramatic splashing, she delivers a line before being yanked off screen. This isn't how the story goes. That's your line, by the way. We nailed it. Everyone clapped. 4 days later, one of the producers was found in the lake. No signs of struggle, just gone. The harness we'd used in the scene was missing from storage. That's when Ashley stopped laughing. We need to look at the script, she said in my trailer, doors locked and blinds drawn. We flipped through the pages like they were evidence. Every major scene we'd filmed lined up with something that had already happened or was about to. The next scheduled scene was different. It was intimate, not flashy, just two of us in a cabin at night, realizing the killer had been orchestrating everything from behind the scenes. In the script, we discover hidden cameras. We realize that the murders are being staged to match horror cliches. My character delivers the final realization. It's not about the movie, it's about making it real. Ashley's character responds
According to my calculations.
Ashley responds with, then we stop filming. We were supposed to shoot it the following afternoon. That morning, we found a camera in my trailer. Not production equipment, but older, dusty, pointed directly at the makeup mirror. The footage inside wasn't from today. It was from 3 nights ago. Ashley and I sitting exactly where we were now, flipping through the script, except we hadn't done that yet. The timestamp was dated for tomorrow. My stomach dropped. The footage showed us reading the final scene. Ashley looked up at me saying, then we stopped filming. Then the door trailer slowly opened behind us. We hadn't heard it open in the recording, but the angle shifted slightly, like someone had stepped inside, and the clip ended there. Ashley's hands were shaking. This isn't viral marketing. I know, said Daneisha. We didn't tell production. We went to set. The cabin scene was lit too warmly, like the cinematographer was trying to make it feel safe. The director looked pale, distracted. Let's just get this one clean, he said.
He's like, I'm going to be the next one dead.
Let's just get this one clean, he said. One take. We started the scene. Hit our marks. I delivered the line. It's not about the movie. It's about making it real. Ashley looked at me, and for a split second, I didn't recognize her expression. It wasn't acting. It was fear. Then we stopped filming, she said. The cabin door creaked open behind us.
Wait. So the what?
We're we're filming. So me saying it's not about the movie, it's about making it real, is our character saying it. Because it's about, the movie is about us going to check this out, and it, like, us finding a killer that's making these scenes.
So they just made the scene off of the conversation we just had?
The conversation was in the script.
Oh, I thought you were... I thought the whole, like, it's about making it real, and then
that's the script.
And then me saying, well, then we stop filming.
That's in the script.
Oh my God, I thought that conversation was us talking in the trailer like, hey, we just need to stop doing all
No,
this.
that was us going through the script, and that's our final scene.
Oh, okay. That's trippy. Sorry.
No, you're fine. The cabin door creaked open behind us. This was not part of the script. The crew didn't yell cut. No one moved. A masked figure steps inside. Not the actor. The mask was wrong. It was older, warped, and the eye holes were uneven. He tilted his head slowly, patiently. I glanced toward the monitors, and they weren't showing us. They were showing footage from 3 days in the future. Police lights outside the camp, yellow tape, the dock empty, the mess hall dark, and our faces on the news. Ashley grabbed my hand tight and grounding. Don't follow the script, she whispered. The killer raised the blade. From somewhere off camera, I heard the director's voice, soft and satisfied. Perfect. We ran. Not cinematic, not witty, not brave. We just ran. Production was paused indefinitely. The story never hit mainstream news. Just a few local articles about a troubled indie film shut down after a string of unfortunate events. Sometimes, late at night, I check the online forums to see if anyone mentions it. There are rumors about a rough cut of the film circulating, scenes that weren't in the original script, and about a final shoot where 2 girls running through the woods out of frame and a third figure following behind them holding the camera. And if anyone offers us another movie role, we're sticking to podcasting, because I have this awful feeling we were never the leads. We were just in the rehearsal.
Ew! No. How dare they use us as pawns for their schemes? Then the fact that the guy, the person who was not in the script came in, and then the producer or the director was just like, perfect. They knew that was going to happen.
It gives me like they're trying to placate this, because like in a lot of horror movies, oftentimes there will be like the caretaker of sorts that knows what's going on but pretends to not know what's going on to kind of, like we've watched The Second Descent, right?
Yes.
Like how in the end the cop gets out, but then the guy like hits her over the head with a shovel and feeds her back to the things. It almost gives me like that vibes, where like he's gonna pretend like he doesn't know what's going on, the producer, but in reality he's trying to get it caught.
That was a good one. That one had me on the edge of the seat the whole entire time. 'Cause I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why are we still here? What are we doing?
It'd be cool to find like an old abandoned campground. I'm a sucker for those. I want to go to Dog Patch so bad.
Huh?
Dog Patch is an old amusement park in Arkansas.
Oh, have we gone over that?
I don't think so.
We should talk about that. Is it haunted?
I'm sure it is.
Well, we hope you enjoyed those conjured up stories. If you have any stories of your own that you want us to read on the podcast or just want us to read in general, feel free to send them to the Afterlife Hotline at gmail.com.
That also goes for, and this was something I was thinking we could potentially do. So I follow a couple of like short story threads accounts. Mm-hmm. And so if you're an author that would like us to read your short story or something like that, please do feel free. We can, talk in emails and try to figure out, something that would work. I think that would be something really cool to do.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
So if you're an author and you want your story put out there, send it to theafterlifehotline@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, blah, 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 blah. All the places.
All the things.
And if you don't want to do it for us, do it for this cute cat.
Yes. Because each view contributes to 1 can of cat food for Chewy.
Just kidding. Not yet. We're not monetized. That would be nice, though.
That would be nice.
Lord have mercy.
If that was the case right now, you'd have 5 cans of cat food.
For just 1 like an episode, you can contribute.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know. If you have anything you want to hear us talk about, states, specific like things, please let us know. If you have any book recommendations, please let us know. Mm-hmm. That's something I would like to implement back into it, is us talking about books. But somebody needs to finish her books. Who that is? Who I talking about?
Yeah. So, yeah, all the spooky things.
All the things.
Send us all the things. We love it. We would love it. Yeah. So, on that note,
keep 1 foot in the living world
and 1 ear on the line.
Bye.